All right, so today we're looking at something, well, it's pretty different. It's a lesson plan that tackles algebra, but it does it using stories from the Bible. Yep, you heard that right. We're going to break down exactly how this whole thing is put together, and honestly, you might be surprised at how clever it is. So let's start with a question that honestly probably gives a lot of parents and teachers nightmares. How in the world do you make algebra make sense to a sixth grader? Right? You've got these abstract x's and y's. How do you make that stuff feel real?
Well, what if the answer was Noah's Ark? I know, it sounds kind of out there, but this lesson plan we're looking at does exactly that. It takes these really well-known stories and uses them as a sort of Trojan horse for teaching math. It's a super specific choice for sure. So let's dig into the mechanics and see how it actually pulls this off.
Okay, so here's the plan. We'll look at this kind of strange combination first. Then we'll touch on the core math concept. After that, the fun part, how the stories get turned into equations. We'll see how students actually practice this, and then we'll wrap up by looking at the big picture, the teaching strategy behind it all.
All right, so first up, this unlikely pairing. The thinking here is actually really smart. Instead of hitting kids over the head with confusing math terms right from the start, you begin with something they might already know, a familiar story. It's like building a bridge from something comfortable to something new and a little scary. It gets rid of that initial I don't get it wall right away.
Now, before we jump into the stories themselves, we got to get the math foundation down. Don't worry, it's super focused. The entire lesson really hinges on understanding just two types of variables. And this is where the lesson does something honestly pretty brilliant. It boils it all down to cause and effect. That's it. The independent variable, our x, that's the cause. It's the thing you control or change. And the dependent variable, y, well, that's the effect. Its value completely depends on whatever x happens to be. Simple, right? And this right here, this is the big idea that the entire thing is built on. It reframes the whole conversation. It's not about weird math letters anymore. It's about a concept we all get intuitively. Something causes something else to happen. That one simple phrase is the anchor for everything that follows. Okay, now for the really cool part. Let's actually see this method in action. How do you take a story and, like magic, turn it into an algebra equation? Let's break it down. So for the first example, we're going with the story of Noah building the ark. They pick a really simple, clear scenario from that story, one that you can easily put numbers to. And check this out. Here's how they translate it. The story says each section of the ark needs 7 workers. So the number of sections, that's our cause, that's x. The total number of workers needed, that's the effect, our y. And boom, just like that, you have a logical bridge straight from the story to the equation, y equals 7x. All of a sudden, those abstract letters aren't abstract anymore. They mean something real. But they don't stop there. This is a really crucial step. They then spell it out in plain English. The number of workers depends on the number of sections. It's not just about getting the equation right, it's about hammering home that core idea of dependency until it sticks. All right, next example. We get a totally new story, but you're going to see the exact same pattern emerge. This one's about the prophet Elisha and a widow's oil jars. And look at that, it's the same breakdown beat for beat. The story is, each jar holds 3 liters of oil. So, the number of jars is the cause, x, the total liters of oil is the effect, y. And the equation? Y equals 3x. You can see what they're doing, right? They're intentionally creating this predictable, repeatable formula. It's all about building the student's confidence. And yep, there it is again, that plain English sentence. The amount of oil depends on the number of jars. This isn't just being repetitive for the sake of it. It is deliberate reinforcement. They're drilling this logic over and over until it becomes automatic.
Okay, for the final guided example, they pull out a big one, the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000.
By this point, you could probably do it in your sleep, right? The story. Each person gets 2 pieces of fish. So, the cause, x, is the number of people. The effect, y, is the total pieces of fish. The equation, y equals 2x. This super consistent structure is the absolute secret sauce of this whole method. And again, they drive it home with that sentence. So there you have it, 3 totally different stories, but they're all deconstructed using the exact same logic. This is all about making that pattern rock solid before they ask the students to fly solo. Okay, so the lesson has shown the pattern 3 times. Now what? How do you make that jump from watching the teacher do it to actually applying the concept yourself? Well, the student's task is designed to mirror the examples perfectly. They're given new, short scenarios, this time with figures like Paul or Joshua, and they have to follow the exact same mental checklist we just walked through. Step 1, read the story. Step 2, identify the cause, the X. Step 3, find the effect, the Y. And finally, step 4, match it all to the correct equation. It's practice, but it's structured practice. All right, let's pull back and look at the big picture for a second. What's the why behind all of this? What's the actual teaching strategy, the blueprint that this whole method is based on? When you boil it all down, this whole strategy is really about making math less scary. It's a clever way to build confidence. You're using a familiar narrative framework to introduce something totally new. You're making abstract ideas like X and Y feel concrete and real. And maybe most importantly, you're giving students a repeatable, predictable pattern, a recipe they can use to solve problems. The goal isn't just to get the right answer. It's to make math feel more intuitive and way less intimidating, all by leaning on the power of a good story. And really, looking at all this leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? One that goes way beyond just this one math lesson. What is it that makes a story such a powerful teaching tool? It's like a cheat code for our brains. Whether we're talking about algebra or physics or history, what is it about a simple narrative that can unlock our understanding of things that once just seemed completely impossible?